What's up, lovely people? XRP is about to blow your head away. In today's video, we'll cover a ton of amazing topics such as Donald J. Trump's major comments, Brad Garlinghouse's massive statements about the XRPL, and other fantastic developments in the cryptocurrency space that will undoubtedly increase liquidity. It goes without saying that we have been waiting for this for a while. I am aware of how enthusiastic you all are. Therefore, be sure to read the disclaimer below. Having stated that, let's go on to the video. First and foremost, I want to make sure that everyone is informed of the situation in the United States, since it is quite probable that tax cuts will be implemented shortly, mostly in the United States but also globally. As you can see, Donald J. Trump just released a statement claiming that they are making excellent strides on the One Big Beautiful Plan that will reduce taxes on tips, eliminate Social Security and senior citizen taxes, eliminate overtime taxes, and much more. It's a chance for Main Street to triumph and restore America's greatness, and it will be the largest tax cut for the middle and working classes that Americans have ever seen. I realize many of you aren't entirely aware of what tax cuts actually do for economic stimulus and growth, but this is obviously pretty fantastic. Since there have been numerous instances in the past where various tax cuts have had somewhat unexpected consequences on the U.S. economy and the economies of other countries, that is what I wanted to get a little bit more into. It is evident that Kennedy's Revenue Act of 1964 lowered the personal income tax rate from 91% to 70%. By the way, I'm shocked that they were this high. Moreover, corporate taxes dropped from 52% to 48%. I can't believe they were this high again. During that time, the real GDP grew by an average of 5.8% each year, which was higher than the 4.4% growth in 1963 prior to the tax cuts. Thus, it was evident that these tax cuts significantly boosted the economy. Why is this now? Since there are more options for consumers to invest their money and taxes are cheaper than in other nations, more enterprises enter the market. Businesses, the working class, and the middle class all benefit greatly from tax cuts. Additionally, we may observe that over a 3-year period, the Economic Recovery Tax Act of 1981 reduced personal income tax rates by 25%. The Reagan tax cuts were the name given to this. Following the recession, business investment soared, employment increased by 18 million jobs, and real GDP growth averaged 4.6% between 1983 and 1988. Completely crazy. Then we may observe that the Bush tax cuts contributed to some economic expansion. The 2001 Economic Growth and Tax Relief Reconciliation Act, the Jobs and Growth Tax Release, the Risk Reconciliation Act, and the Risk Reconciliation Act of 2003. All decreased individual income tax rates, capital gains taxes, and child tax credits. Consumer spending and housing investment propelled the recovery following 9/11 and the dot-com crisis, and the cuts contributed an estimated 0.5 to 1% to GDP yearly. Real GDP growth recovered from 1% in 2001 to 3.8% by 2004. All right, this is rather big. For those who are curious, the answer is that middle-class income tax relief will result in increased investment, consumption, and money flowing across the economy, as well as growth in the stock and cryptocurrency markets. We have repeatedly witnessed it occur. I've simply mentioned 3 historical instances, and based on the historical examples we have previously examined, it is true that lower taxes almost always translate into economic development. I am passing around this knowledge because I think this is going to be a terrific moment to get some really amazing entry, even though there are certainly other things at play. In fact, our Crypto Crusaders trading group, where many people have been watching and following my trades and doing incredibly well, just made some purchases yesterday and the day before. Therefore, I want to make sure that you guys are able to accomplish this as well. I've been trading Crypto Crusaders and have made between 65 and 400% in a month. You can also achieve it by making your own trades utilizing easily accessible information, or by tracking the transactions if you'd like. You are free to do that. Here are links to 2 distinct exchange partners, Possess BitUnix and BTCC. This is the first step in gaining access. After that, you can deposit as much as you like, but you must deposit at least $100. By the way, you receive the 10% deposit bonus on each of these exchanges. To gain access to Crypto Crusaders, simply fill out this form with your email address and exchange user ID. Therefore, be sure to visit there if you wish to view my trades and learn more about my opinions on the market. Again, keep in mind that this is not financial advice. You are welcome to join the group, and I'm simply providing my personal opinion of the marketplaces there. However, President Trump claims that the United States and the United Kingdom have negotiated a complete and thorough trade agreement. In essence, they are engaging in a trading agreement here. Although the United States will continue to impose 10% tariffs on the United Kingdom, the two nations have essentially reached a trade agreement that Trump has stated is the first of many to come. India, in my opinion, will arrive very soon, with Canada and Mexico probably following. Due to the significant gaps between those countries and the US, things could take a little longer. Yes, we will see what transpires in this situation. However, the United States does currently have a surplus with the United Kingdom. Therefore, this was likely one of the simpler trade agreements for Trump to negotiate since, to be honest, it doesn't really take much negotiation if you're already getting the better deal. According to CNN, it seems evident that the US-UK trade agreement will maintain the 10% tax. We will check to verify whether that is true. CNN has made mistakes in the past, but they have also made correct ones. Trump then claims it was false, but in reality, it was the truth. We'll observe the situation there. In any case, banks are currently making some very intriguing movements in the cryptocurrency field. The expert from Standard Chartered Bank has expressed regret for predicting that the price of Bitcoin would reach $120,000 this year. His goal might be too low, he says. It's fascinating. Banks, organizations, and many others are altering their price forecasts for Bitcoin, XRP, and other cryptocurrencies, essentially stating that we were excessively pessimistic. I do believe that Bitcoin has a good chance of rising to $150, or, on the more optimistic end of the spectrum, $200,000 per coin. But yes, I haven't seen exactly how this is going to unfold yet. I'm ecstatic. Naturally, if Bitcoin reaches that level, as I'm aware that XRP will be at about $20 per coin if Bitcoin reaches $200,000. We've already witnessed this after all. XRP rose from 50 cents to about $3, about the same time as Bitcoin went from about 60 to 100,000, correct? That's 6x gains then. If Bitcoin performs another 2 to 3 times from now, I believe we can make it 10 times. That's why I'm so enthused about it. As we can see, Coinbase is also paying $2.9 billion to acquire Deribit, an options trading platform. Now that we're at a point where companies are purchasing, it's encouraging. All right, if you are expanding and acquiring, this indicates that your firm is doing well. Additionally, the Bitcoin industry is thriving despite the fact that the general industrial complex and numerous other specialized businesses in the US are struggling. Sales figures for Tesla, for instance, as well as numerous other tech companies, are declining.